What is it in the human mind that wants to follow a leader, a guru, a system, a belief, and be obedient to something? Right? Otherwise you won't be here. Nora. The question is asking, why is it that human beings, from time immemorial, from the most ancient Hindus and the Egyptians and afterwards other civilizations, why through all these periods of time, why has man followed somebody? A political leader, a general, a high priest, a psychologist, a philosopher. Why? What is it in the mind of the human being that says, he knows, I don't? Because he knows, he will help me to live a different kind of life. Help me to get over my pain, my sorrow, my anxiety, and so on and so on. So, one being confused, the other is not, at least I think he's not. Most gurus are, but we attribute to them all kinds of fanciful, romantic nonsense. So there is this first point. I don't know, but you know. At least I think you know. You have the reputation. There are lots of other idiots like me following. And the greater the following, the more I feel it's accurate, because so many people believe in that kind of stuff, and I follow. That's one thing. Also, the leader, political, religious, as the gurus, and so on, they have assumed certain authority, whether it's logical, reasonable, sane, or illusory. They have assumed certain authority. They have received from the guru, superior guru, the rest of it. Apostolic succession, and also the similar thing in Sanskrit in India. This is an old game played by all the priests in the world, the leaders. So that is the question. Question is, why human beings follow another? Let's inquire into it. Is it because we are not clear? We are confused. And I am confused. Suppose I am confused and I choose you as my leader. I choose out of my confusion, not out of my clarity. Please see the sanity of it first, the logic of it, and then you can throw it out if you disagree. I am confused. My brain is in a state of contradiction. I'm frightened. I have no psychological security. I come to you because you have certain authority, certain dress, certain paraphernalia around you, and I come. I'm impressed by the dress, by the people, by the whole setup. And you assure me that surrender yourself to me and I will save you. Right? Give yourself over to me, because I know you don't, so I'll help you. And I'm only too willing and gullible, because I want comfort, I want some security, I want some hope somewhere on whom I can depend, in whom I have trust, in whom I know, or perhaps I think I know, that He will guide me, help me. And He is only too willing to help me. It begins very gently. There is the inner circle, the outer circle, and the outer and outer circles. And gradually, that help becomes dependence. And I depend on my guru, on my priest, on my leader, the political leader of all the various countries. I don't know why we are slaves to the politicians all over the world. I don't know if you have been inquired into it. We have elected them, or they have assumed power in the totalitarian states, and they put their thumb on you, and for the rest of your life you are stuck. Or in the democratic world, it's every 5 years, 7 years, you change. But it is the same. You elect them out of your confusion, and there they are. They are confused. The game is played. Every 7 years or 5 years, this goes on. And it happens the same thing with the gurus. I don't like that guru, but I like the other one. He's more indulgent. He allows me to do what I like. You know, many gurus have come to see the speaker at many times. The funniest one of them was he had been in that particular country for many years, and he came to see me with all the robes and beads and all the rest of it. And he said, he saluted me most respectfully, because he assumed I was the guru of gurus. And he said, "Sir, I have been in this country for many years. I have talked all over the different parts of this country. I have a large number of followers, but I've run out of ideas." So I've come to you, and so please give me some ideas. We're not joking, but this was an actual fact. You see, when we have really understood why we follow, why a guru assumes authority, why he demands so many things, or allows another follower to throw off his inhibitions, doing what they like. Sex, the whole performance, ugliness of all that. I naturally feel that there is somebody whom will help me. So why do I ask help of another? That's the real point. Apart from joking about all this is a very serious problem. Because they are multiplying these gurus with enormous wealth. Think of a religious man having enormous wealth and property, millions and millions of dollars, thousands of acres, hundreds and thousands of followers. What is wrong to allow such a thing to happen in a world that is already so utterly destructive, so degenerating, to allow the so-called religious people, who are really not religious, to acquire such wealth, such power. And because they have enormous amount of money, they bribe, you follow? They slip through all the regulations and rules. So, why do we allow all this? Why do we allow terrorism, for example, which is spreading? And is it because we are slack, indulgent, what does it matter? Indifference? Or do we really want to find somebody to help you? Some honest man, not a guru. They merely repeat over and over. You've seen all this. Look, says, I'm not attacking anybody personally. I hope, please, I wouldn't do that. But I have, during all these over 60 years, I've watched this. One cult after another, one guru after another. More and more wealth accumulated. Private planes, and they're all religious people. So the world has gone mad, and we are helping these people to go still madder. So we come back to this question, why do I want help from another? If I am physically sick, I go to a doctor. If I have cancer, I consult specialists. He puts me on a table or kills me or the end of it. But psychologically, we're also diseased. Psychologically, inwardly, we are wounded people. And we hope others will cure us. You know? And this has been the story of mankind. From the ancient civilizations, from the Sumerians and so on till now, we are still doing the same. We are psychologically unhealthy. And we are depending on another to cure us. And we have not been cured. That's the first thing to realize. You can go from guru to guru to guru, as so many are doing, so thoughtlessly. And we are still unhealthy psychologically at the end of it. So if we realize, first, be aware that we are inwardly unhealthy. I'm using that word in most without any further meaning than that. Wounded people, disappointed people, lonely people, full of pain, anxiety, sorrow. That's all indication of unhealth, lack of health. Now, can anybody cure you of it? You understand? Historically, from the very ancient times, man has always looked to somebody else. And up to now, they are still doing the same. Which all indicates that nobody outside can cure you. Nobody. Your saviors, the Buddhists with their Buddha, and the Hindus with their soul, none of them have succeeded and will ever succeed in bringing about psychological sanity, rationality. So that if I realize that, right, logically saying, if you observe all this, then what am I to do? That's the real question. What am I to do when I have discovered that nobody can help me? Prayers, meditation. Wait a minute, I must be careful here. Meditation is very important in life. But that meditation must come after putting the house in order. Your house inside. Otherwise, it merely becomes an illusion, leads to illusion of fanciful images and all kinds of silly experiences that have no value at all. Meditation has got immense significance when the house is in complete order. But we have turned it the other way around. We meditate hoping to put the house in order. Or meditate hoping some kind of miracle will take place that will put the house in order. My order, the house being myself, oneself. The other way around, you follow? That's what I won't go into it. The speaker generally talks about meditation at the end of the talks. He has done this purposely because all that he has said previously is to bring about order in the house. A man who is frightened is pursuing pleasure. He can meditate till he is blue in the face, stand on his head, cross-legged, do all kinds of things that have been prescribed by the innumerable gurus. He'll still be what he is. Perhaps little modified, but basically he's still frightened entity. So we are saying begin the other way around. Then meditation is a marvelous thing, which we'll talk about next Sunday. That's not an enticement. So, if I cannot depend on anybody to heal my wounds, my state of psychological health, I have to look to myself. I cannot depend on anybody. Right? Or when I say that, am I frightened? Please inquire with me into this question. When I say to myself, I must stand alone. Nobody can help me. Because I have realized, have been through various gurus, studied, prayed, meditated. At the end of it all, I am what I have been when I started. So, logically, sanely, I observe that nobody can help me. It is not that I become cynical. It's a fact. And am I willing to stand alone? I need companionship. I need to talk to somebody. But they're not going to become my gurus. They'll be my friends, but I'll talk about it. But I realize deeply I cannot depend. I depend on the postman, the milkman, and so on. But inwardly there is no dependence. Because I realize also that attachment, which is to give oneself over to the Guru, that very attachment leads to corruption. Right? I don't know if you have noticed this. Any form of attachment to any person, to any belief, to any ideas, to any country, and so on, must inevitably breed corruption. So I realize all that. So what am I to do? Can I be a light to myself? I am not a light to myself now. I am a confused entity, which are talking to that. Personally, I am not. We're talking about it together. I am a confused entity. And you tell me, be a light to yourself. I understand that very well, logically, intellectually, but I am not light to myself, because I am terribly confused, deeply wounded, unhealthy psychologically. I am unbalanced, neurotic, romantic, sentimental. So I take all that in. I am all that. So what am I to do? To study myself, I must have a book about myself. And you are willing to give me that book. You see? And I refuse that book. Because what you write is myself. You are writing out of your confusion, like most psychiatrists. Sorry, don't you? So, I have to have a mirror in which I can see myself. I hope you're following all this. We are talking together. We are investigating the question. I have to have a mirror in which I can see exactly what's going on. And no hardware store is going to supply that mirror. No shop, no good. You follow? I've pushed aside all that. So I must have a mirror in which I see myself accurately, without any distortion. What is that mirror? We are inquiring, please, I'm not telling you. We are inquiring. That mirror is the relationship. Relationship with my neighbor or with my wife. That's the only relationship I have. In that relationship, which is the mirror, I see myself as I am, jealous, anxious, frightened, possessive, attached, hurt, anxious. The more I'm anxious, the more I'm attached. My family becomes all important. So in that whole relationship, I begin to see myself accurately as I am. My sexual demands, my arrogance, my vanity, the ugliness of what I am, all assume that I'm extraordinarily beautiful. But the mirror shows me I'm not. So, what is shown in the mirror is far more important than what I should be. I wonder if you follow all this. The mirror doesn't show me what I should be. That's the beauty of that mirror. That mirror shows me exactly what I am. I may turn away from it. I may escape from it, which we generally do. But if I want to, if I say to myself, nobody can help me, then I am looking at that mirror. And that mirror is showing what is, not what should be. And perhaps I don't like what is. And the psychologists and others say, express yourself as you are, immediately. And again I depend. So I'm all the time aware that people are trying to brainwash me according to their own pattern, and I refuse. And I begin then to have a great deal of vitality. Naturally. You understand? I hope this is clear, you see. I see what is, not what should be, which is the future. I see exactly the present, the present, what I am, in that mirror of relationship. That what I see is me. I am not different from what is shown there. I don't know if you follow all this carefully. That which is seen is me. I am not different from that. That is clear, obviously. But my thought says, no, I am different from that. I won't accept that. That thought says, I am different. So I must control it. I must shape it. So the battle begins. You understand? I hope you're following. The battle begins, the struggle, the conflict, all the travail that goes on, when I refuse to acknowledge actually what is shown in the mirror. What is shown in the mirror is me. I am not different from that. That's a tremendous realization. Because thought is always saying, you are different. You know more. And so on. So there is a division between that which is seen in the mirror and that which thought has accumulated in the past, which is the observer, the witness, the seer. You follow? I hope you're following, right? Am I making this complicated? Oh, thank God. So, one of our difficulties is then the observer says, I am different from that which is observed. Because traditionally, through millennia, have been educated in the separative action. That what is different from me. You understand? That is, to make it very simple, look at it. When there is anger, there is only that state. Later on, that reaction. Later on I say, I have been angry. I shouldn't be angry. Or I rationalize why I'm angry. Which is, I am different from anger. The moment I said, I have been angry, I am different from anger. I don't know if you see this. But when you realize that which is shown in the mirror of relationship is what is, and what is you are, the division entirely comes to an end. Right? And therefore conflict comes to an end. Do you follow? We are eliminating altogether conflict. Because it's conflict that wastes away our energy. The intellectual, the emotional, the energy that is needed to remain with what is. Because we are refusing to stay with what is. We are moving away from it all the time. Verbally saying, that's anger, that's greed, that's violence. These are all verbal descriptions of what is. The word is not that. I wonder if you follow this. Right? The tent, the word tent is not the actuality. So can I remain absolutely with what is, without the division of I should be or I am different from what is. What is me, the observer, and the observed is me. So there is no division, therefore total end of conflict. Because I remain with what is. I refuse to move out of that state. So I'm looking at that state. I'm observing it. I'm looking. That needs attention. Attention means energy, which I've been wasting by separating myself from that and fighting over it. You understand? Are we wasting our energy now? I'm sure. No, don't. So, we realize together now that we are not dependent on anybody. That means no saviors, no symbols, nothing. We are dealing with only what is, which is my whole wounded psyche. That wounded psyche cannot be helped by or cured by another. When I realize that most in my depth of my being, then mirror becomes all important. Relationship. Then relationship has an extraordinary vitality. So, if you penetrate into all that, then you become entirely a light to yourself. When there is a light to yourself, experiences are not necessary. It's only those who are asleep experiences necessary. But if you depend on experiences to wake you up, you are still asleep. I wonder if you see all this. So we can go on talking like this endlessly. My speaker has been doing it for over 60 years. But words have very little meaning. It's only when we realize the truth of all this has got tremendous vitality. I do not know if you have not noticed. As we grow older, we are losing our capacity to think clearly. If we ever thought clearly, even in childhood. As we grow older, our brain not only is not receiving enough blood, because our arteries are beginning to thicken. Too much drink, too much everything. Not enough exercise, proper exercise. Please don't go off into yoga and all kinds of stuff. So our brain is gradually deteriorating. Senility may begin at the age of 30. When we are constantly repeating, I'm a Christian, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Democrat, I'm a socialist, I'm this, I believe in God, I follow that man. You follow? That's all indications of senility. Please don't laugh it away. But it's a fact. When we are caught in a routine, psychologically, Think of a man spending, or a woman, for 50 years every morning going to the office. Think it out. So, at the end of the question, and after investigating the whole psychological structure of obedience to obeying another, if you realize that you have put aside all that. Any intelligent man does it. Then only you become a light to yourself, and perhaps in that light, various other things can take place.